For our next presenting duo, we have Peter Samuelson, who's a producer and the founder of 5 charities for children who are seriously ill, homeless, or in foster care. His 26 films include Arlington Road, Wild, Tom and Viv, and Revenge of the Nerds. Peter has been a member of the Nicholl Committee for 2 decades. And Eva Marie Saint is an Oscar winner for On the Waterfront and Unforgettable in North by Northwest. Eva Marie Saint is also an Emmy winner, and for The Kids Among Us, was the voice of Katara in the animated series, The Legend of Korra. She has served on the Academy Nicholl Fellowships Committee for 30 years. Presenting the award to Karen McDermott are Peter Samuelson and Eva Marie Saint.
It's such a nice, hi, where, oh, you, okay. I thought it was a shadow. I love the idea with the actors enact a scene from one of these stories. It brings it to life, and you're all wonderful. I just have to say that, actor to actor. Karen McDermott, who wrote Lullabies of La Haula, she said, quote, "I felt compelled to tell this story because I'm outraged that children are being caged in America. As a former attorney specializing in child abuse and neglect, I know what the trauma experienced by neglected children looks like." She wrote Lullabies of La Haula. It is a story of a 15-year-old, and her name is Dahlia. She, her mother, and brother made the journey to the border. Her brother was killed. She is put in a cage and separated from her mother. She is a brave young girl and makes friends with the other children in the cage. She loves books and she reads them. She becomes their mother. But she misses her own mother. One day, a well-to-do white couple visits the cage and meets Dahlia. They sign the papers and drive her to her beautiful home by the sea. She goes to school and she tries very hard to accept the situation. However, she does miss her mother, and she is determined to find her. Eventually, she does, and her mom working in a florist shop. Karen McDermott, who wrote Lullabies of La Haula, said, "I felt compelled to tell this story because I'm outraged that children are being caged in America. As a former attorney specializing in child abuse and neglect, I know that the trauma experienced by neglected children looks like." And I would like to invite her to come up right now. Oh, no, you're coming up. The man's coming up.
All right. It's no secret to anyone here that we are living in dark and dangerous times. What perhaps we should be focusing on is the role that audiovisual storytelling is playing in the gathering darkness. Those who, through demagoguery, seek to divide us, to emphasize the sense of other, to make us hate each other, they understand through training in reality television that Schadenfreude is a potent, base human instinct, meaning enjoying the suffering of others, reveling in difference, enjoying someone's misfortune and their downfall. Luckily, audiovisual storytelling can be used equally well, and perhaps much better, we hope, for the forces of the angels to prevail. Because the bully pulpit that we are facing, every time you turn on news television, has an antidote. And I'd like to suggest that all of us here, the professionals here, whether your creativity, your art, your science is through acting or writing or directing or producing or the myriad other ways that we help to get films made, we should all be asking ourselves in this time of peril and gathering darkness what we can personally do beyond the next 7th sequel to some franchise which is based in using visual special effects to defy the laws of physics. We should be asking ourselves, what can I do to make my world a little less grim? How can I generate empathy through the power of my pen, my voice, my camera? How can I lift people up and emphasize the commonality of mankind, which links us all? What Karen McDermott has done elegantly, powerfully, with emotion, with technique, with huge impact in Lullabies of Valhalla, is to show us that this family that is thrown into chaos from the moment that they have to escape from evil that has killed the son in the family, through the new evil that awaits them on the other side of the tunnel into the United States, which separates mother from daughter and encages the 15-year-old. What we understand is that family is family, that these people who speak a different language, who look a little bit different perhaps, they are us and we are them. And Karen, by telling this extraordinary story of personal bravery of a 15-year-old who actually realizes that there is something the matter with being fostered by a well-meaning but tone-deaf white couple in their very elegant and expensive home, and being thrown a lavish quinceañera where the only Hispanic people present are herself and the mariachi band. There is something wrong with that picture. And her being possessed to find her mother, which she finally manages to do, lifts us all up and shows us that even in the face of evil done by people in uniforms carrying guns and locking children in cages using our tax dollars, even given that, even though, Santayana said, those who forget the mistakes of history are doomed to repeat them, my thoughts go to 1932, 1933, 1934, somewhere else, and the power of media in that time, Leni Riefenstahl and so forth. We need to, every person here in the Samuel Goldwyn Theater needs to be asking themselves, as well as making a living, as well as getting my material made, as well as getting that next acting assignment, how can I actually use whatever God-given skills I have to lift up my world, to emphasize what we all have in common, and to build bridges rather than walls? I have the great honor with Eva Marie Saint to ask Karen McDonald to come up and receive her Nicholl Fellowship in Screenwriting. you. Now. All right, my dear. There you go.
Is this my script?
That's your skirt and that's your check.
Wow.
I'll come around it with it.
Rosa Salazar. I didn't realize the power of that last line until I heard you recite it. Thank you so much. Tyrese Gibson. I never thought of Juan Alberto as sexy, but apparently he is. You just made more work for me, Tyrese. I have to go in and add some scenes where he's shirtless now. Thank you so much, Peter Samuelson and Eva Marie Saint. This is such a dream come true. Thank you for putting so much thought and generosity into that introduction. I have to say, this whole Eva Marie Saint thing is throwing me. It would throw you too. Thank you to the Nicholl Committee, Joan Y, and all of the Nicholl judges. But more than anyone tonight, I need to thank my students, the people who inspired this script. First-year composition students at California State University, Los Angeles. Cal State LA in the house. That surprises me because a couple of my students asked me if they would get extra credit for coming tonight. I said, no, but you'll get public recognition in the Academy Award Theater. And they were like, but no extra credit? In the fall of 2018, I knew I wanted to write about the caging of migrant children in America. I was infuriated, and I wanted to put a face to the policy of family separation. I wanted us to see it through the eyes of a child, but I knew it was a difficult subject to think about, let alone write about. So I talked to my Mexican-American students about it, and they said, we'll help you, and they did. My students helped me with the Spanish. They fact-checked me. They did. They told me stories about their family's border crossings and about the conditions in their home countries, and all of this informed the script. Two of my students allowed me to use their names. Thank you, Juan Alberto, for the use of your beautiful name. I'm sorry I had to kill you. Thank you, Estefany, for the use of your beautiful name. I'm sorry I had to kill you too. Hey, I had to kill some children. I was trying to make a point. And I was trying to make Eva Marie Saint cry. No, I wasn't. I wasn't trying, but if she was going to cry, the cry I had in mind was the one from the auction scene in North by Northwest. It was a beautiful cry. She just welled up so beautifully. Thank you, Michael, for never letting me give up, no matter how hard I try to. Michael's favorite thing to say to me is, you got the goods. I don't even know what the goods are, but thank you to all my friends and family who support my writing. In an earlier version of the script, I named them all and then listed all the reasons why I was thanking them. You would have hated it. It was 12 minutes long. I have one last thank you to the Meryl Streep-funded Writers Lab for female screenwriters over 40. Thank you for mentoring and empowering mature women writers. I attended the lab 2 years ago, and I think we have some alumni here tonight in the audience. I want to end by saying that I agree with Peter Samuelson. These are dark, dark times, but the wind is coming, I think. Thank you. Good night.